Can life insurance help your long-term financial success? Thank you so much for joining today, everybody. Insure the Heroes. My name is Melissa Skur, and in honor of Life Insurance Awareness Month being September, I've invited a very special guest to join us today. Her name is Lacey Langford, also known as the Military Money Expert. She is an Army brat, Air Force veteran, as well as a military spouse. So I'm very thrilled to have her on the show today. She's an accredited financial counselor, AFC, and then also a CFP candidate. So she's got a lot to shed on this question, and we'll go ahead and introduce her today. Hi, Lacey. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I know things are a little bit hectic going on in your neck of the woods right now.
Yes, I'm in North Carolina, so things are a little crazy with the impending Hurricane Florence.
Yeah.
So we're not exactly sure what we're going to get, but we're definitely making preparations.
Well, I really hope you don't have to use those preparations.
Yes.
Everybody in that area is kind of like, what is going to happen? So we're really hoping that obviously it's going to hit somehow. Maybe it'll just turn around, but at least maybe it'll just get less intense for everybody.
Yes.
You got our thoughts.
Yes, I did get the essentials though: water, bacon, and Diet Coke. So I feel like I could weather the storm.
Got the bacon. There you go. That's all you need.
Yes. I did have like a little panic when I thought for a second I didn't have enough bacon to get me through the storm. So I rectified that this morning. So we're good now.
Oh my word! I know. I'm always like, Joe, do we have bacon? Yeah, we have meat.
Yes. And we got some ice.
Okay.
So we did. Yeah. So we're ready.
Well, yeah, so I did give you a brief introduction, but if you want to piggyback and say what you want people to know about you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, I'm the Military Money Expert. I help service members, veterans, and their spouses to stop being fearful of money and start having control and confidence with it. And most of the time, people just need to make a few little tweaks. They understand that you do need to spend less than you make, but I think it's important to just make some positive changes to keep you on the right track long-term with your finances. But I do financial coaching one-on-one with service members and their spouses to help them reach their financial goals.
And I think it's safe to say you know a little bit about military life.
Yes, just a little bit. I grew up in the military and I served, my husband served. So yes.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you for your prior service and you're continuing.
Yes.
And I do like how you like to showcase on your blog that you are positivity plus kick in the pants. So
yes, that is exactly what I did.
That's amazing. Yes. And it's probably hard sometimes, but you're the voice of truth, I'm sure. And a lot of people's finances. So.
Yes, because it's not necessarily something that people are super passionate about.
Right.
And when you're not passionate about it, it kind of gets put on the back burner. So my job is to help people have accountability and to kind of keep them focused on what they're doing with their money to get them on the right track. It's not something they have to do, every waking moment of their life, but they need to be present with it and make sure things are on track and then do checkups to make sure they stay on track long term.
We can't avoid money, as much as we want to. It's in our face every day.
Yes.
So I know your work is very important, especially in the lives of military families. So thank you for what you're doing there. So tell us a little bit about how life insurance can help your long-term financial success.
Well, I think when you are doing the right things, you are spending less than you make, you're saving your money for the things that you want, plus long-term savings for retirement. Insurance is an important part of your overall financial well-being because if you've done all these things, you've saved up your money, you're saving for retirement, you're spending less than you make, and you have a financial crisis such as, a vehicle that breaks down or like a good example, a hurricane comes through, your home's not properly insured.
People really need it.
Right. And you need it. And same thing goes with life insurance. You have car payments, you have mortgage payments, student loans, other type of consumer debt. It's important to make sure that your loved ones are covered after your death, to make sure that they're able to make payments on those things because they are going to lose. Yes. If you are the sole income earner for your family and something happens to you, your spouse has lost that source of income.
Yeah,
you know,
on
all
top
that
of
money.
their whole world. Now they have to think a whole new strategy, you know, financial success.
Right.
What's their financial success? God forbid they, you know, you die.
Right. And so if you've done all these right things and you're on track financially and something like that happens, you lose a loved one that is a sole income earner, then that's going to be devastating to your finances. You're not going to be able to make payments, or, you know, just keep up your lifestyle even. So it's really important to have life insurance to help replace your income after your death.
That's so big. And I love the way that you phrased it in that way, and saying that life insurance is not just something, you know, like a product or a checklist item on your insurance. It is contributing to your long-term financial success. God forbid your family has to experience such a tragedy. So hopefully you never have to use any of your insurance products, but in the event that you do, this is one you can't really review and learn from, you know.
Right. It's really too about taking care of your family. How do you want in that moment for it to be for them? You know, stressful and crazy. And that's the same thing with having a will, you know, healthcare directives, those type of things. How do you want your loved one to be in that moment, stressed out, or do you want to have already made the decisions and things will be in place in that moment so they can focus on, you know, what's most important in that moment. And so life insurance really can help. It's not necessarily, it depends. I guess it can be personal, your choice on how you want to leave that family member, but it doesn't need to necessarily make them stinking rich, but it needs to help them cover the bills. And that's really essentially bare bones. That's what life insurance is about, to just replace the loved one's income and to kind of make it so it's not a devastating blow to your finances. It doesn't need to be that they're going to, you know, be a billionaire. So there needs to be some balance with there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have the concern of buying too much insurance, and maybe even too little, depending on how they look at it and approach it. And you know, finding that middle ground for what you can afford in your budget, which we'll talk a little bit later, is big. So you know, I have a lot of consumers that have many objections to buying life insurance, and one of the most common ones: I'm not making my spouse rich. You know, they can go get remarried. So some people have that philosophy. Okay, you know, you can't really change your mind on that one, but having something in place to really like take care of the brunt, you know, maybe some short-term and long-term expenses is definitely great. So where would you say people can find good life insurance resources?
Well, a free resource that's amazing is Military OneSource. Service members can look on there and there's information about life insurance. If you're looking for more information about your SGLI, your service members group life insurance, or the family members life insurance through the Veterans Administration, you can check out the VA's website and they can help you with that. But also too, you know, maybe if you're a bank, like if, you know, a lot of military service members and their families and veterans bank with USAA, that's a good resource to find out about life insurance. So it's really, I think, a good place to start, though. Free, unbiased information would be Military OneSource.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's good, because it is overwhelming. There nowadays, you can get it pretty much everywhere. You know, you have people maybe blowing up your phone. You never give them your number, and they're finding that all the way to, you know, the resources with your bank and the various blogs of different kinds. And so lots of blogs have an intention to sell you or lead you in a direction of getting a quote, and some don't. You know, I do, because I have actual life insurance agency, but yeah, so
But yeah, I think it's good for people to get that, I'm sorry, to get that knowledge first. I think that's really important. And because then you'll be an educated consumer going out shopping for life insurance. You'll understand what your needs are instead of somebody else telling you what what they think your needs should be. So I think it's, when you go shopping for life insurance, you need to understand how it all works. What's the difference between term and whole life insurance is critical. And, you know, you need to understand your budget and what you need. If you don't have any debt and you're both spouses are working, your life insurance might not need that much at all.
Like a tiny amount.
Or any at all.
Right, yeah.
Yes, so know thyself before you go shopping for insurance.
I love that, because I really made the decision to take an online quoter off of my website, even though some of my colleagues have that, and you know, many of my competitors or banks or whatever have that. And I just think, if you don't really know yet what you're supposed to be looking for, you know, it can be a little difficult. And so I love that whole philosophy of knowing like your budget, knowing your goals, and then going in with a plan, because you're just going to get overwhelmed. You start looking for how much does this cost. You start getting some crazy numbers, and maybe it's not what you wanted. Maybe it's going to be, maybe you quoted something that is too, it doesn't really fit what you're supposed to be looking for. And so that knowledge is definitely power. So thank you. Those are some really good places that people can go for life insurance information. All right. So since you are an accredited financial counselor, I'm sure that you've seen lots of different scenarios. What would you say are some of your best tips for people fitting coverage into their budget?
Well, I mean, it's kind of blunt, but, put your money where your mouth is. If, you really want to make sure that you are covering all the financial basis and getting insurance, you're going to make that a priority. And so you might want to skip out on the Starbucks, 4 times a week in order to, but it's kind of, yes, if you, have the money in your budget to do both, that's great. But, you could find some type of compromise where you get it once a week and make your coffee at home for the other days. So you have the money to pay for your insurance. Also, too, just be mindful of your money, creating a budget and staying on track and not overspending on little stuff. Because if you don't have an eye on your money, it's just going to slip through the cracks. And so, right. Looking at your monthly food spending is a great way to start. Anytime I do a budget with somebody, it's looking at their food. There's a lot of variable. Yes. And so eating out is huge, especially if you're eating out, 3-4 times a week.
Yeah.
And each of
a lot of military families, like we're in Key West.
Right. Right. And not necessarily going to McDonald's, but if you're going to someplace like Cheesecake Factory, 3 nights a week, that's going to be kind of steep. And so it's really important to, you don't have to live like, a monk. You can go out once a week or once a month, depending on what your budget is. But so you still have that quality of life, but you're able to save the money to put towards things that are also really important in your budget. So I think just be mindful. Yes. Be mindful of your money, creating a budget, and making some little sacrifices for the long-term financial success of your family.
I think that's great, because you never know, your spouse might be having some resentment later on, God forbid you die. Why couldn't they have just done this? I think there's actually like a lot of situations where people do die in like life insurance quotes or in the process, but they don't pull the trigger, and like sometimes they don't know if they can afford it because they're not looking at their money, or maybe they just have that resistance to, putting it in the budget. So
yes,
that's definitely some really good tips. What do you, if at all, do you really see some priorities that families are spending on other than life insurance? So eating out is definitely a big one, I think, for a lot of us.
Yes.
What else do you think to put it on?
Or like getting a cell phone that they can't afford, that they're financing, the latest iPhone, those are type of things. Mindless shopping like Target, Walmart, those are, yes, dangerous. Yes. And also getting vehicles that they can't afford, so they're overspending on auto loans each month, and that really adds up. Those type of things are big budget items, and just things that, memberships to swim clubs or memberships to the gym that they're not using, or I'm trying to think, buying big purchases.
Yes. Yeah, but I have life insurance, and I'm not ever getting rid of it. Well,
yes.
I'll have to later, but
yes.
But yeah,
but also too, trips. Another one is trips, and in the military, a lot of times service members don't go on vacation a lot.
Right.
But some do, but also they go home a lot. And so that becomes their vacation. And so, if you think you're flying somewhere, or you're, driving, you stay in a hotel, and then you're maybe going back home with your high school friends, and you're going out more, spending more on food, alcohol, those type of things, driving. Yes. And so, and then on top of that, going on a vacation to Disney or something. So that kind of stuff, it's not every month, but that's a lot of money that gets maybe thrown on a credit card. That,
really, yeah, you look at it monthly. Really, when you look at that, how are you budgeting for it, or are you just doing it, put it on a credit card?
Yes.
So
so those type of things.
Okay, wow, that's great. And I hope people can take a little bit away from from those tips. We're all military families. We're all guilty of spending on things sometimes we shouldn't. So we definitely learned from from your tips today. So we appreciate that. So tell us a little bit about the services that you offer. So you mentioned coaching.
Well, yes, I do one-on-one coaching with service members and their spouses. Usually, more often, a lot of times couples
Oh, that's great.
are my clients, but also individuals.
Okay.
And I help them, start off from seeing where they're at financially and what their goals are, and helping them to make some changes, maybe some little sacrifices, give them information maybe that they're not aware of, that resources that can help them, and give them a plan to help them reach their goals. So if it's get out of debt, I'm going to go through their budget with them and, make improvements or tweaks, and then make a long-term plan for getting out of debt. Yes, or some people want me to teach them how to use the TSP. They don't understand the different types of investments. And so I don't give investment advice, but I help people educate themselves, because I really do believe most everyone can help manage their own money.
Absolutely.
So I just help them get to where they want to be with money.
That's so good. And, knowledge is power with anything. We have so many, things at our fingertips nowadays, but having an expert that, has the track record that you do, and just having that positive kick in the butt is really good. And, money is really a mindset. So we all have different attachments to how we're spending money, and a lot of it's emotional and behavioral and all that stuff. So having, someone there on your team to really guide you is great. So I'm glad that you offer those services. And so, we will be talking about where people can connect with you here in a second, but tell me, who is your hero and why?
If I had to choose one, I would say my dad. He laid a lot of foundation for me, and, understanding that you have to spend less than you make, excuse me, and really, have a plan for things. You can't just wing it.
Right.
I mean, of course, in some things in life, yes, there's a room for being spontaneous, and also too in your budget. But for the long-term financial success, it's that, you got to make some sacrifices in order to get ahead and save up, and then you can have those things. And also, each, pay raise that you receive, taking half of it, increasing your lifestyle, and then also increasing your savings and long-term financial goal money. So I really do think that would be my choice, my dad.
That's amazing. And I love how it ties so closely into, what you're passionate about as a military money expert. So that's really cool. And I know, my parents didn't really teach you those things, so I wish they would have. You pay for it later when you don't have that kind of stuff ingrained in you. And, even though my dad didn't practice it, he always said, pay yourself first. Pay yourself first.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. But that brings up a good point, is that a lot of times, people ask me how to teach their kids about money when I coach them. And the one thing I say is lead by example. That is the most important. You can say things all you want, but if you're not actually walking that walk and doing it, your kids aren't going to do it.
Right.
So it's, paying your bills on time, budgeting and controlling your wants and needs. Hey, I really, really want that new thing, but right now that's not in our budget. I can't afford it right now, or it's not how I want to spend my money, because it's going to stress me out later. Definitely. So I think it's really important to walk the walk with how you manage your money.
Yeah, and teaching your kids, I can say I had a really kind of rough childhood, so I will say that I've had to learn on my own the very hard way. And, that does, you just get to that point where you want to make the changes and all that stuff. So you starting early with your kids is going to help them in the long run. And it's never too late. It's never too late to pick up and start making good decisions. Yeah. So people can connect with you where? I know you have your website. Oops.
LaceyLangford.com is a great way. On Twitter, I'm at Finance Lacey, or on Facebook, The Military Money Expert. On Instagram, I'm Lacey Langford. So those are all places people can connect with me.
And you've got some really great videos going.
Yes, I do have a YouTube channel.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's great.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining today. I know you got more hurricane prep to do, and we really hope you don't ever have to use it, and that you have enough bacon, Diet Coke, ice and water.
To survive.
Well, yeah, we're thinking of you. We'll be keeping you in our thoughts. And so I'll let you get going today so you can get back to it. I really appreciate you coming on because I know these are really big tips for people for Life Insurance Awareness Month.
Yes, no, thank you so much for having me on, Melissa. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lacey. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
All right, guys, that is LaceyLingford.com. You want to check her out, the military money expert. She's got lots of really great tips on her website, also on the videos. So I will be linking to that here in the comments too, so you can find it after the video. And if you're looking for more life insurance tips, you can check out my website for the video series, which is a free short training I put together to make life insurance easier to understand. And that is at insuretheheroes.com video/series. Thanks so much and have a great day.